Life with autism has been very hard. When I was 3 years old, I had something called echolalia, where you have no connection to words and just repeat things you hear.
Echolalia is very common for kiddos on the spectrum. That's often one of the first warning signs that we might see, especially for kiddos who have delayed language skills. And then when they finally do emerge, there's really not that big of a connection between words and their meaning. And they tend to do things like script, which is repeating almost exactly in the same tone, in the same kind of enunciation patterns that they hear on things like TV or movies, almost like scripting words, but without understanding the meaning behind them and not saying them at the socially appropriate time.
And I didn't talk to the other kids because I didn't know how, and I sat alone. It was almost like I didn't see them because of the way my mind worked, and I put everything in my mouth.
Also, mouthing on non-edible objects is another kind of frequent warning sign or red flag for potential autism diagnosis.
So I was not allowed to go to preschool unless I had an aid.
This is also a very usual and common experience for kiddos who are early diagnosed with autism. Because the rest of the world is built for neurologically typical people, it makes it very, very, very difficult for those higher need kiddos to function and fit in those environments.
And I wish my brain would do what I was telling it to do.
Just because somebody is pre-verbal or nonverbal doesn't mean that they don't understand what you're saying to them, doesn't mean that they aren't trying to respond in their own way. Sometimes, exactly like Abby says in this video, the words get stuck. They might have something called aphasia, which is an actual like speech and language pathology diagnosis where your voice, your throat can't form the words correctly. So there can be many different reasons why somebody is non-speaking, but it doesn't mean that they don't want to communicate with you.
This is when I learned to identify with Ariel. Ariel was a mermaid living in a world alone. She wanted to be with the people, and when she finally became human, she couldn't talk.
And this is why representation in media really matters. You never know what is going to be so impactful to one viewer. It can change the course of somebody's entire life. So having neuroaffirming programming is so, so important. Overall, I love Abby's story. I think it's so important to talk about how isolating parts of autism and people's autism experience can be. Normalize talking about that. Let's normalize having more representation of the spectrum of autism out in community and in the world and in media.